I'm Steve Ledoux, Town Manager here in Acton, and we're here to talk about Article 19 and 20 of the annual town meeting, which town meeting starts on April 3rd at 7 p.m. in the auditorium of the Acton-Boxborough Regional High School. With me is Shacey Petrovic, who is the President and Chief Operating Officer of Insulet Corporation, and Article 19 is about a tax increment financing plan for Insulet, and so we're here to discuss that. Shacey, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Could you tell us a little about Insulet and what Insulet does?
Sure. So Insulet was founded in 2000. We're about 17 years old. And our founding mission is to improve the lives of people living with diabetes. And we do that with our flagship product, which is the Omnipod insulin delivery system. This is a novel insulin delivery system. It comprises of a small, lightweight, disposable pod that's worn on the body. And this pod and the insulin delivery is controlled wirelessly by this handheld device. So the pod can be worn anywhere on the body. You would give yourself an injection, and it's lightweight, it's waterproof, so when you're swimming or showering, you can continue to keep this on. The pod provides 3 days of nonstop insulin, and it's a dramatic improvement over other potential insulin delivery methods like shots or a tubed insulin pump. So this really makes a difference in people's lives. It allows people with diabetes to live freer lives without thinking about their diabetes as frequently.
So it's primarily like for type 2 diabetes?
It's actually the device is worn by anyone who has insulin-dependent diabetes, which means that they rely on insulin doses to survive.
Okay, all right. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've known people in my own family that have had to, do the shots and stuff. So clearly, this is a way better way to handle it.
Right, much.
Are there other drugs that are delivered by the Omnipod versus just the insulin?
Yeah, the platform is used by other pharmaceutical companies to deliver some novel medicines. The most obvious example, which might be familiar to your viewers, is Neulasta. There is currently a commercial running on television that features Neulasta and the on-body injector or the pod. Neulasta is a drug that's delivered to people who had cancer and completed chemotherapy to reduce the infection rate associated with chemo, and a very unique delivery system. And we have other pharmaceutical partners that use the pod to deliver medicine and develop those to improve the injection experience for customers.
Okay, so I know you Insulet was looking, kind of far and wide for a new facility. Can you kind of talk about your search process and how you kind of arrived at Acton?
Sure. Yeah, we did look far and wide. We looked at dozens of facilities across the United States in many different communities. And we were thrilled to find the facility at 100 Nagog in Acton. It really perfectly suits our needs. And one really great thing about it is that it's close to our current headquarters in Billerica. And so, ideally we wanted to bring manufacturing closer to our customers, which the largest market is in the United States. And it's a benefit to have it also close to our current headquarters. So we think the facility is a perfect solution for what we need today, and one that can grow with us as we grow over the horizon. Yeah,
so I'm taking the location was what was most attractive to you?
Yeah, location, and we also saw Acton as a community and the neighboring areas as an area with a very talented workforce that we could draw from. And so both of those things were incredibly appealing to us.
Yeah, and I think from our perspective too, clearly your presence in the Nagog area is certainly going to be a boon for a lot of the businesses there with your employees and all that. So that'll be really.
Yeah, where we see that real opportunity. I mean, we're thrilled and excited to be a part of the Acton community, but where we see the real opportunity to benefit the community is with the zoning expansion. So obviously we're moving manufacturing there, but in a perfect world, over time, we would also move our headquarters team there. And that is 500 to 600 people who would contribute nicely to the retail and restaurant community in Acton.
Do you know how long 100 Nagog has been vacant? I've been town manager for 9 years, and it's been vacant at least 9 years. So
Yeah, my understanding is the facility has been vacant for 15 years. So I think it was built in the 80s, and there was a computer firm in there for some time, but it's been vacant for 15 years now.
So right now you're based in Billerica, I understand it. How many employees do you have there?
Yeah. So Insulet, at the headquarters, we have 500 to 600 employees. And then we have another 150 to 200 employees that are field-based. But yeah, the vast majority of our employees are at Billerica at our headquarters.
So all those folks will be moving over to the Acton facility?
Yes, that's the goal, to bring them over. We will be creating new jobs, obviously, for the manufacturing facility as well. But over time, our goal would be to merge our headquarters over to Acton.
So what type of jobs are at the facility? What type of new jobs do you envision being at the 100 Nagog?
Initially, the investment is in our manufacturing team, so that this is a highly technical operation. So technicians that are capable of maintaining and running the highly automated equipment, all of the frontline managers, and the support staff and the administrators. So at least to begin, that's going to be about 300 jobs, primarily tied to production.
Okay. What's your average salary?
It's a little early for us to determine that for the manufacturing facility. Today we're manufactured in China, and so we'll be creating all of these new jobs here in Acton, and we're doing all of the work to understand where we need to be from a salary and benefits standpoint. But we fully expect to be competitive.
Yeah. What about your kind of your office? The other jobs that'll be coming over from Billerica, do you know what the average salary is?
I don't know what the average salary is. It's a very wide variety of staff there. So we have administrators through to the executive team, across 600 people. So, but very competitive, and we've been growing nicely over the last few years.
So would you still be keeping your manufacturing in China, or would that be?
Yeah, this investment in Acton and in this facility is a really significant milestone for us in our manufacturing strategy. Today, we manufacture exclusively in China, and we're sole sourced there. So our goal in this investment in Acton and in the Commonwealth is to create redundancy in the supply chain, but also an investment in efficiency, productivity, and quality. But we will continue to manufacture in China because that redundancy, having the ability to have both locations, is important for reliance, and consistency in the supply chain. But our largest market today is in the United States, and so this facility in Acton is intended to serve our largest market of the U.S.
Okay. So talk a little about your manufacturing process. One thing I've learned about being in Acton is there's a lot of concern. We have a lot of folks that are very concerned about the environment. So could you talk a little about your manufacturing process, and are there any air emissions, things like that?
Yeah, the great thing about this process is it is an FDA-approved product, so we are manufactured in a clean room, and there are no emissions associated with the production of Omnipod. This really is an assembly operation more than anything else, so we'll bring the components in. We're not manufacturing components at this facility, and simply assemble those into the pod.
Oh, okay, great. What type of shifts are you going to have shifts at the new facility, and what do your days of the week operation look like?
Yeah, we plan to have one shift to begin with, and that will be a typical 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And then that's the first line. We are going to evaluate adding a second shift as needed. And our goal is to remain flexible. We know that the most successful, productive operations typically have some flexibility in shifts. So we could, for example, allow some people to work Monday through Friday and some people to work Tuesday through Saturday. But we're evaluating all of that now, and we'll do what is best for the business and for the community.
Do you foresee a lot of truck traffic going to and from 100 Nagog?
I don't foresee a lot of truck traffic relative to some other types of operations. The pod itself is very small, so the components are small, which means that you can put many, many, many parts onto pallets, just 1 or 2 pallets. So today, if we look at where we distribute from in Bedford, we typically distribute 7 to 7, and our truck traffic is a couple vans from DHL and FedEx, maybe 1 small box truck, and 6 to 8 other trucks. So not significant. We are doing a traffic study, and we will be sharing those results, I believe, at the April 3rd town hall.
Okay. So one of when some of your folks came in front of the Board of Selectmen a couple months ago, we did have some residents who are very involved with things green. In fact, their organization is called Green Act, and they asked about whether the pods themselves were recyclable, things like that. Can you talk a little about that?
Sure, yeah. Sustainability and recyclability, all of that is important, not just to your residents, your fellow residents in Acton, but also to Insulet and to our customers. So the pods are recyclable. We offer that service free of charge to our customers, and we work with our users to provide disposal and recyclability of the pods.
Oh, great. Okay, appreciate that. I want to thank you, Shacey, for being on the show today and talking about your company. It sounds like a very exciting company and a very exciting product, and look forward to going into the detail of the tax increment plan at town meeting. So once again, thank you, and we'll see you at town meeting.
Excellent, thank you.
All right, we're going to talk to Matt Selby, who is our Land Use and Economic Development Director for the town. He goes by Selby, so if you hear me calling him Selby, I'm not being rude. That's basically what he prefers to be called, and there's a story behind it, but we're not going to get into it today. But Selby's here to talk about Article 19 and 20, which, once again, Article 19 is a tax increment financing plan for the Insulet Corporation, and Article 20 is a rezoning of Nagog Park to hopefully help Insulet expand and grow. So, Selby, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
Why don't we talk a little about the tax increment financing, what tax increment financing is, and specifically what it means for Insulet.
Of course. So in Massachusetts, a tax increment financing is one of 2 different mechanisms to give a tax break to a corporation in a local municipality in the state. It's all run by the Mass Office of Business Development. It's part of the Economic Development Incentive Program through the MOBD. The TIF agreement is different than the special tax assessment that was done with AES about 18 months ago. With AES, that special tax assessment, we actually went from, they were, say, paying $50,000 in tax. We dropped that down to 0 and then slowly ratcheted it up over a course of 5 years. This is a very different agreement. A TIF agreement it's a local real estate property tax exemption. It's negotiated between a host municipality and a company that's either wishing to expand or relocate to that community. A TIF requires that the business makes a significant private investment in the town, and that investment increases the base assessed value of the property. And what the TIF does is, if town meeting approves it, is we would abate that increase in assessed value over a course of time, over a period of time. So under Chapter 40, Section 59 of Mass General Laws, a TIF can range between 5 and 20 years. Again, the company continues to pay the full tax on the base value. In this case, the property at 100 Nagog Park is bringing in about $115,000 in tax revenue to the town. So that amount stays the same. And what we do is we provide an exemption on the taxation from the increase in assessed value that would happen from the expansion. So they must have an incremental tax exemption between 5 and 100%. The next slide that you'll see shows, I got this picture from the state, and it shows the mechanics of a TIF agreement. As you can see, as the assessed value goes up, we incrementally capture that over time. And at the end of the agreement, in this case it's 20 years, the property would be taxed at its full newly assessed value. So Insulet is investing in Acton They're investing $140 million over the course of the project. So that includes the purchase price of 100 Nagog Park. They closed in mid-February and they bought that facility for $9.25 million. And they'll spend another $30 million more or less in building expansion. And that's if they get to if we approve the TIF, we approve the zoning change, and they get to expand, they'll be able to co-locate their global headquarters and their manufacturing. So that's $40 million for the building, and then another $100 million will be invested in machinery and equipment for the manufacturing of their Omnipod insulin delivery device. And if all goes according to plan, there will be about 1,000 people working at 100 Nagog Park over the term of about over the next 5 years or so. So as far as the TIF terms, what we negotiated was a 62.5% abatement over the course of 20 years. So what that means is that we'll be abating the increase in assessed value at 100% for the first 5 years, at 75% for the next 5, then 50%, and then 25% for the last 5 years. At the end of the 20-year term, the property would be assessed at full market value. So the tax implications for the TIF, again, they're better than that special tax assessment that I was discussing. So the property is currently assessed at $6 million, and it's generating about $115 million in tax revenue to the town. Again, that's going to stay the same. That's never going to go down. And then over the course of time, it'll increment by another 25% in the increase of assessed value every 5 years. And again, after 20 years, it'll be at its full assessed value. Now, what this means for the town is the tax revenue again stays static at $115,000 for 5 years, and then it'll go up $56,000, then for 5 years, and up another $112,000 for 5 years, then up $168,000 for 5 years. Now, again, this is all based on flat numbers. That's assuming 2016 dollars and 2016 tax rate over the course of time. Right. And so the bottom line for the TIF for the town is that Insulet would save about $2.8 million in real estate taxes over the course of the 20 years. Meanwhile, Acton will generate $4 million in tax revenue. And of that, $1.7 million would not be realized if the TIF and the expansion don't happen. And again, if the TIF doesn't take place and the expansion doesn't happen, we'll only have manufacturing jobs in Acton, about 300 of those. But at full expansion, they'll be able to co-locate their global headquarters here as well. So we expect to see about 1,000 jobs here at 100 Nagog Park from Insulet, and 1,000 jobs means real economic impact to the town.
Okay. I saw a statistic once, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but how many times a dollar regenerates from local employment into the local economy, but it's pretty significant. So with 1,000 jobs, it'll really help all our businesses, restaurants, and
Absolutely.
things like that. Absolutely.
That's right. That's right. That's the idea.
Okay.
So again, in order for this to happen, we need to approve Article 19, which is the tax increment financing. But we also need to approve a slight zoning change for Office Park 1. Now, Office Park 1 is the entire Nagog Park. It was built in the 1980s. When that Office Park was built, it was zoned general industrial. And at that time, there was a 35% open space requirement in the zone, but there was no floor area ratio limitation at that time. Now, what floor area ratio is basically the size of the building you can have relative to the size of the lot. Office Park 1, as the zone exists today, was created in 1990, and the floor area ratio was set at 0.1 at that time, although the office park had already been built and many of the buildings were in excess of 0.2 FAR. In 1996, the open space was changed back to 35%, and then current zoning, if you look at it, it says the FAR is 0.2 and the open space requirement is 50%. What this means is that it doesn't give the existing buildings there a lot of room to adapt and change with market conditions or to expand like Insulet would like to do here. So the average FAR in the park is 0.2, and if you look at this chart, many of them are in exceedance already of that 0.2. The highest FAR in the park is 0.33, and that's at 35 Nagog Park, which is an office building on the right-hand side as you're driving down towards 100 Nagog. So what we are asking town meeting to do is to increase the FAR to the the largest FAR that exists in the park today, which is 0.33, and to reduce the open space requirement for the zone back down to the 35% as it was originally zoned for. So those details are on the next slide. So the rationale for the zone change is 100 Nagog Park was designed to accommodate 800 employees from Digital Equipment Corp. They're the company that built 100 Nagog Park and a couple of the buildings in that park. But the building has been vacant for 15 years. And the existing zoning in Office Park 1 impedes expansion on existing properties, including the 100 Nagog Park property. So Insulet acquired the property on February 15th. That's when they closed on the property for $9.25 million. And they'd like to accommodate both their manufacturing and their corporate headquarters at this location. But of course, they need this zoning change in order to expand. What they're looking at is about 108,000 square foot addition onto the existing 200,000 square foot building. And if they're allowed to expand, then Insulet would be able to employ up to 1,000 employees at this location. If they're not allowed to expand, then they would probably just use this as their manufacturing site, so there'd be about 300 jobs. So again, just to recap, the current FAR and open space requirements in Office Park 1 were imposed after the industrial park was built. The current FAR is an average of what exists on the ground today, but it's not representative of the actual existing FARs on each parcel. And the existing open space requirement was increased from 35 to 50% after the industrial park was created. So all we're doing is asking to reduce the open space back to what was originally, and to increase the FAR to the maximum that currently exists in the park.
Excellent. We've been talking to Matt Selby, the Land Use and Economic Director for the town of Acton, about Articles 19 and 20, which if it goes along the plan, we hope we'll be bringing up Articles 19 and 20 the first thing on the second night of town meeting, which would be April 4th at 7 p.m. So once again, town meeting starts on Monday, April 3rd at the Acton Boxborough Regional High School's auditorium. And I want to thank you, Selby, for being on the show, and hopefully everybody will turn out and vote for this tax increment financing plan, because I think it's really important for the economy of the town. And thanks again, Selby. And
thank you, Steve.
Thank you to the viewers.